Never, ever gets old, man. Welcome back, folks. Hey, here at BTP Sports, we appreciate you guys in our fanship. I don't care how many times I see that, it's still funny. If you guys aren't following us on social media, make sure you do so. We're on Facebook at BTP Sports Talk. We're on Twitter at BTP Sports. We're on Instagram at BTP_sports. And make sure you guys are subscribing to our YouTube channel, which is Bring the Pain Sports. We see you guys watching the videos. We need those subscriptions, and we appreciate you. We realize no us without you. So I'm back with Tula, and to my left, y'all know him, Texas Heavyweight Champion Emeritus and former Texas Cruiserweight Champion, Mr. Ricky Jackson. Pretty Ricky, what they call him. So, y'all know what time it is. When you see the champ, it's time to talk about some boxing. Last week, we had an interesting fight with Timothy Bradley and Vargas. Tula, talk to me about that fight.
Well, you know, it kind of went as advertised. You know, Bradley's experience was, you know, too much. I mean, granted, Jesse Vargas was game, but you know, it was going into the 12th round, and you figured, all right, Bradley's got a decision. And then the last 20 seconds, you know, all of a sudden, Jesse Vargas hits, you know, Bradley with an overhand right, which, you know, sounded like a bazooka on television. I was like, whoa! And you see, you know, Bradley kind of stumbling. You know, I was like, what the heck's going on? Is he really going to lose, you know, this fight? And then the ref steps in, and you know, essentially what it looks like, you know, to Vargas at least, stops the fight. But he thinks he hears, you know, the little. He thinks that's the bell.
Yeah.
It's 10-second warning. Vargas starts celebrating. Bradley doesn't know what the heck's going on, and then it ends up being, you know, just 10 seconds that Vargas could have had to try to finish off Bradley, which you can argue, okay, the odds are, you know, he wouldn't have done that. But Bradley was wobbling, and this, you know, professional fighter, last 10 seconds, he sees blood. You know, I imagine.
And he knows he's losing already on the cards.
He's got that adrenaline. He just needs to land one more shot, and you know that 10 seconds was taken away from him. You like to see that, you know, given to Vargas, but you know, I guess I'm going to pass it on to someone who's actually been there and say, you know, did you actually think, you know, that 10 seconds would have made a difference for Vargas or not? I mean, obviously it would, but, you know, what did you think?
In boxing, 10 seconds is a lifetime.
It is.
I mean, all you need is a second. And, I mean, he filed an appeal to have the decision overturned, rightfully so. I mean, it was a bad decision by the official that he stopped the fight. I mean, at a very profound moment, which is the last 10 seconds of the fight. You know, so that blew any chance, any possibility of it, which he thought he won the fight, so he turned around, rightfully so, and started celebrating because it looked like to me that he stopped the fight because the kid was hurt. So he fooled me, and he fooled, of course, Vargas as well. I thought the fight was over with because of Bradley got stopped in the last 10 seconds of the fight. So he filed an appeal to have the decision overturned, I think rightfully so, and it sets up a rematch. You know, It was a back-and-forth grudge match. I think it was a pretty back-and-forth fight. I gave the Bradley 8 or 10 rounds in the fight, but it was back and forth. That fight could have went either way at any second, and it did at the very last second, made a dramatic turn. So I definitely understand and agree with the kid's petition for the fight to be overturned, you know, rightfully so, and they should overturn it, you know, to a no contest because the referee made a drastic, unacceptable mistake, and that's waved the fight off and gave the kid the illusion that he had won the fight. I think the referee didn't know what he was doing himself because I think he was confused as well. So when he waved it off like he was confused about this guy was so hurt that I'm going to stop the fight, and then in the mayhem he said, well, I heard something. I heard it too. I heard the little bump, bump, bump. But you're in round 12. You heard that 11 other times. You should be accustomed to that by now. So it was a bad decision on the official's part, which should rectify him getting a rematch.
So you don't think it was shenanigans? You think it was just an honest mistake by the official?
Things happen, you know, and in the heat of the moment, it was a big fight. It was a tough fight for both the referees and the two guys that were fighting. So you can't get lost in a moment like that. Yeah. So, you know, and sometimes the referees are older, and they hear things, they see things, you know. But I think it justifies a rematch, and it'll be a rematch I would want to watch. Yeah. It was a good fight.
No, yeah, and you saw forgive me for not knowing his name, but you know, at the end of the fight, you know, Kellerman was questioning him, not really letting off, but you could tell he, you know, unless he's a good card player or something, it looked like an honest mistake.
Yeah, reference Pat Russell.
Pat Russell. Pat Russell. Yeah, he's a good ref. I mean, doesn't have any dirt on him or any shade on him, but you know, it really is. You know, you want to see that finality of the, you know, in this fight, and it's just kind of, you know, what would have happened, and you know, kind of, you know, feel a little bit for Timothy Bradley because you know he put together a good fight, and you know, it was kind of, it was really tainted at the end. You know, I understand he was arguing that he had his faculties and stuff like that, but I'm gonna tell you something, man. One more hit.
Yeah, but more so, this is a very important fight,
right?
Because it was the interim WBO welterweight fight. And because Mayweather just vacated that same belt, so Bradley steps up into becoming the WBO champion, which puts him in a position to fight Mayweather possibly for a title defense. So strategically wise, it would be something that Bradley needs to get cleaned up and, you know, washed away and make sure he's the champion. But Vargas' stance would be, well, hey, you didn't win, not square and fair, so I want the rematch, which would be a strategy to, you know, possibly put his name in the hat too for the Mayweather fight. I think Mayweather's looking for an opponent. I think it's going to be something that's not too appealing because he's fought everybody and anybody, in my opinion. Pacquiao was kind of the last of the era of Mayweather. And so Bradley would be a pretty reasonable fight. I guess he had mentioned it before. It's possible Bradley is one of his opponents for the next fight. And now that Vargas got this questionable loss, he can possibly be thrown in that equation as well.
Okay. This is interesting how, you know, kind of things set up because of this fight. But, you know, we already know he's not looking at Keith Thurman, which, you know, is a good segue into, you know, the preview fight for the night. But we already know because I think it was Mayweather Sr. already said. And, you know, he's right. You know, the public really doesn't know who the heck Keith Thurman is other than us, you know, because we follow it. But he's, you know, he actually would be, you know, considering the opponent that I'm assuming, you know, he's going to end up choosing Mayweather. I think Thurman would be a decent, it'd be a decent fight to watch simply because of, you know, the match with the speed, and I just feel like he'll have a better chance to lose.
Let's keep it real.
That's why it's not gonna happen.
Floyd, yeah.
And that's exactly why.
Floyd
doesn't have to take any more chances.
He's not gonna fight a dog. He's not gonna fight a dog.
Who do you think he's gonna fight? I have no idea who he's gonna choose.
I guarantee you, it'll be somebody like a Bradley or a Vargas, somebody that does not pose a big threat.
A name that people recognize, but nobody that's never going. Yeah.
Anybody Mayweather fights, we want to see.
Exactly.
That's about him. Just the hope and the possibility of him getting hurt
or losing.
Losing, I think, is never going to happen. Then again, as I said once before, the money might change his whole philosophy on the game. You know, if he's beatable, I think it's right now because he is sitting on cloud 9. He's earned the most money in the history of the sport, in the history of any sport, and that's going to be a hard battle, I think, just to get focused the kind of focus you have to be a fighter. I'm not sure if he can get that back.
I mean,
I said that once before. I don't think he can refocus himself like he did the past, 38 fights.
And you know, this is really the first time that will happen because let's keep this in perspective. Mayweather in one night, he made, I think I read a report, what LeBron James have made
in a career.
Ever.
Salary-wise.
They said, the one I read said at least, because I remember you forwarded it to me, at least $300 million.
Yeah. No athlete in the history of mankind has made that kind of money in a night. Corporations have. You know,
I had to look that one up.
A period of time, you know, oil and gas industry do it all the time, but that's years of oil and coal and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but this is an historical guy, man. This guy rewritten the game, and as I said to you once before, I think he's going to change the game in that capacity. The guys are going to start demanding way more money and wanting more percentages of everything that's involved with the show. You got network, you got memorabilia, you got all kind of promotional products that go around sports. You know, football players, basketball players, baseball players. They're in billion-dollar organizations. You know, and they're only getting a very. If you can pay a guy $10 million a year, how much money's on the table, really? A lot, a lot, and that's times several guys on one team. So, I mean, I think this opened up the doors to look at things from a different perspective, for as athletes are concerned, to look at not just the dollar that's being presented to you, but the bottom dollar that's involved. And that was my whole point about this thing, was he's changing the game in the capacity to where I don't think it'll ever be the same, not monetary-wise anyway.
Yeah,
Which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Boxers used to just get a fight check, but now he's changed the game to where they're getting onto the business side of the money.
You almost have to look at it like now, especially with how much money they're making and how much they break, you know, especially the De La Hoya Mayweather fight. That was humongous at the time.
Right.
And the Pacquiao Mayweather fight completely shattered.
Yeah,
you know,
wasn't even close.
But that was because of Mayweather and his constant
draw.
promotion of himself. And I hate to even bring the kid's name up, but he's did what Bronner is doing, but did it with a little bit more taste.
and he wins.
Dislike him. Yeah, but he wins. He flushed money down the toilet. He did the whole stunts with, you know, look at me, here's the cars, here's the life, here's the camera. And he's still recently done that. He had strippers at his house a week before the fight.
Right.
You know, he had to answer to the commissions for that. But he does it within a little bit more tasteful way. And it makes you want to see him lose.
It's almost like they're if you break a certain threshold, especially if you're a pay-per-view attraction,
right.
It's almost like these boxers, they become actors. And the promoters and the boxing machine, they're like the studio system. Now they can demand, Mayweather can demand whatever the heck he wants. He can get whatever the heck he wants.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one gets paid. I mean, he is.
Without him, there's no show.
Yeah, he's like the studio.
But that's in any sport. The commodity is the athlete. That's the bottom line.
But it's almost like boxing, it's more so because there's only two per event. And so each event, I look at it like they're movies.
Well,
like they're movies. How are you going to get made? There's this huge
But what is the football team without a quarterback?
Oh yeah, but you still got to pay. Well, look at the Texans. They paid $100 million. You know, he commanded a lot of money, but you know, they got to spread that money around. You know,
it's just you and you. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll cut you.
Yeah. But do you think it's not available? They have the money. They have the money. I
mean, it is. But I mean,
the athletes only get maybe 1% of what's out there.
Right.
Even still.
Yeah, I think the demand's going to go up a lot. I think they're going to want 50%.
I don't know if they'll ever get that.
Hey, Mayweather got, and this is what I read, he got 45% of the whole promotion.
Well, it's his promotion, though. Most fighters aren't promoting.
He cut into the networks.
Oh, yeah, he did.
He cut into the gate.
He did.
He cut into the memorabilia. He cut into the cash.
Everything.
He cut into
pay-per-view, the pay-per-view.
Anything in Vegas that day had to pay Mayweather.
Yeah.
You know, even the phone company had to pay Mayweather.
Let me tell you how gangster it was. When we were out there, there were like 3 casinos in all of, or 3 places in all of Nevada that actually had the rights to show it.
Yeah.
You could only see it on MGM property, and they wanted $1,000 a ticket, and people were buying them.
Right.
And 2 other places in all of the state of Nevada were licensed to show that fight.
Right.
Strategy. Demand 101.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this dude is just incredible. I was talking to a coworker of mine just today. They were talking about that big UFC fight that's coming up tonight. And he said, yeah, I mean, he's not a big boxing fan. He said, yeah, man, I noticed they're starting to show a lot of boxing on network television. And I said, well, yeah, because boxing realizes that they're about to lose their main attraction real soon. And they're trying to get a fan base back. But we got plenty more to talk about here, folks. We're just getting started on boxing. So give us a minute to pay some bills, and we'll be right back after this break with Champion Tula, Mitchell Brock, BTP Sports. Be right back. Hey, folks, and welcome back. Just Tula and the Champ. We're talking about some boxing. And the next fight we want to talk about is the upcoming heavyweight bout between Deontay Wilder and Areola. And I'm going to start with the Champ because he gave us a very interesting fact during the break. So talk to me about that, Champ.
Areola's guys, you got to put a question mark over. I mean, he's questionable if he's going to show up right or not. You know, he has some outside the ring issues. He have a tendency sometimes to show a little bit overweight. And he's even made the expression himself that, you know, if I may get ready for it and I may not get ready for it. You know, so at his best, it would be a tough fight for Deontay Wilder. That was proven when Wilder fought the kid, the Spanish kid just recently. He struggled, I think, in that fight. He got hurt in that fight.
Oh, Molina.
Yeah, Molina. Yeah. You know, I know Wilder fought at home, which is very difficult for a fighter to kind of have your game at 100% when you fight at home because there's so much demand when fighting at home from family, friends, and the atmosphere. So I can't really hold that fight and compare Wilder at his best to what I've seen in the past. So, but point is that if Wilder shows up 95% and Areola shows up 100%, that's anybody's fight. Really, Areola can take a punch. He does take a punch, you know, but he keeps coming. It's kind of one-dimensional. Wilder showed his boxing ability, has ring generalship, has a great jab, is a real rangy guy, and we all know he has tremendous punching power. But I still don't think he's been tested deep in a fight late in grueling rounds. You know, round 8, round 10, lip busted, eye closed. I hadn't seen that aspect of Wilder yet. So I think Areola will present that in this fight. Areola being a guy that I've boxed with a few times before. He's a tough guy, you know, but I caught him when he was getting ready, so he wasn't as tough as they presented him to be. But also I boxed him when he was in better shape. So there was a significant difference in the guy that's getting ready and the guy that's ready.
Right.
He can punch, but he's a one-dimensional fighter. Comes straight at you. That's all you're going to get.
He's a bull.
Comes straight at you, looping punches. Wilder does have great boxing ability. He is long, he is rangy, and he does have a very dynamite jab. So he has everything he needs to beat an Areola, who, again, is questionable. I think Areola is on the downside of his career, so that's going to be a fight that he has to be at his best to perform and to go out there and make a showing. Do I think he's going to do it? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think he'll show up. I don't think he'll get ready for it. I don't think he'll get up for it. You know, he's been down this road a number of times, and he's proven time and time again that he may or may not get up for a fight. He's gotten older. You know, he's been through a few wars, and you know, the last time I saw him fight, he looked shaky. You know, so I don't think he can get up again to the level he needs to get up to beat as well as dominate a guy like Deontay Wilder.
Yeah. I was telling them on the break that when we were out in Vegas at the Maypac fight, we were walking, you know, of course you got to walk all the way through the MGM to get to the arena. Right. And I walked right past Areola. Yeah. And he looked good to me. He looked like he was in pretty good shape. Because, matter of fact, I said to myself, you know, I said, man, he looked kind of small. Yeah. And then, like Champ said, he said, well, he was in shape.
Yeah, all fighters look small. I mean, on the ring, of course, on television, he look 20 pounds bigger. You'd be surprised if you ever met Holyfield?
No, I heard he's not really. Yeah, that's what I heard. My nephew met him in Atlanta. My nephew met him. He said he's not as big as I thought he was.
Until you turn those lights on, then he's starting to get 20 pounds bigger.
Yeah.
You know, and can, you know, dominate you in a fight. So, I mean, sometimes what you see on the streets and what you see in the ring is well, in most cases, a whole different ball game.
The guys are just so cut, they look big. Yeah. But when you see them like, you know, Mayweather and these guys, they look big on TV, and you're like, this dude is 5'8", 140 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me about that. Talk to me about that for that Wilder fight. What you think about it?
I think just from, you know, a name standpoint, Areola's biggest name Wilder's fought. You know, they both fought Stavern. Stavern beat Areola twice. Of course, the thing about
bust him up bad.
Yeah. The thing about a Areola fight is, and every announcer, whether he's on Showtime or wherever, they always point out, you know, his physical shape. Is he in shape?
Yeah.
Oh, he's in better. He's in non-Areola shape for this fight. But, you know, in terms of talent, you know, and toughness, I mean, this guy, he withstood, you know, Vitaly Klitschko, an onslaught from him. You know, he went the distance with him, and he showed a lot of heart in that fight. So, you know, that was a while ago, but, you know, this definitely is. It piqued my interest. You know, this is now, just like, you know, Mr. Jackson said, you know, it is
it's a live fight now, not so much, you know. And Areola, he was commenting because he saw the fight against Molina and Wilder, and he felt that Wilder was essentially, you know, kind of, as some people suspected, carrying the fight just to appease the fans in Alabama.
Yeah, he's from Alabama.
I don't think
Yeah.
he was carrying the fight.
And
When he got hurt in that, was the third round, he was trying to get that fight over with. And when he tried to get over with, he rushed and he threw some wild combinations. He didn't stay sharp. So he wanted to get that fight over. When he got rocked in the third round, he wanted to get out of there. And I think he got exposed by Molina also. Some vulnerability. He got caught on the chin, he got buckled, he got rocked. And he's definitely now being shown to be beatable. Because Molina can't punch. I mean, for a heavyweight, he doesn't have a big punch.
And Wilder, how much is he? He's a trim 220.
Talking about not looking big. See the guy in person, he looks like a basketball player.
I was going to say, he looks huge on TV.
He's tall, he's lean, he's 6'6", about 249, which is not heavy for that weight.
And Areola's going to
Small
come in
legs.
like bald bull.
Yeah. Well, you know, fight is about strategy. If he gets into his chest and stays there and be in the kind of shape that he needs to be in, to stay in his chest for 6, 8, 9, beat him up rounds, because he will take a punch, he will take punishment, he will keep coming. And somewhat, Molina was more of a boxer, kind of crafty guy, and he caught Wilder. I mean, and the question about Wilder was, could you even hurt him? So now that's been exposed that he can get rocked, he can be hurt. Guys are going to be after his chin, you know? As they call it in boxing, his chin got checked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the video that's rolling as we're talking, and I'm just looking at some of the guys he fought, and I'm like,
Well, he hasn't fought.
come on, man. He
Well,
ain't really fought
he
nobody.
fought about 3 guys.
Yeah.
And Stavern being the biggest name. Well, he also fought. Stavern was the biggest
That was
name.
a big tag.
Yeah.
And he looked like, technically, he looked like he had tools against Stavern, you know, whereas, you know, in the clip
But
we saw
Stavern came
Looked like a
in-
Rocky movie, most of his fights.
Stavern came in off. He wasn't right. I've seen Stavern fight enough times to know that wasn't the Stavern that I was accustomed to seeing.
You think
I
the Stavern
picked
against
Wilder in
Areola
the
would
fight.
beat him? The Stavern that showed up against Areola, you think he would have beat Wilder?
Wilder? Yeah, I still thought Stavern was going to win that fight. But when I saw him step in the ropes, I say something wasn't right. You know, I don't know if he overtrained or there was some outside the ring issues, but he wasn't 100% for that fight. And I did read up on something was questionable about. He had some physical issues going on with him. I don't know if he got sick before the fight or whatever. But in boxing, if there's anything off, it'll screw your game up big time. And like I've seen many guys look drained before the fight, which is a good indication that they may have overtrained a little bit. So I think he caught Stavern at the right time and capitalized on it, and hadn't looked back since. But still, this Molina fight kind of gave me a little bit of question mark about Wilder right now. You know, and as I said earlier, I know he was fighting at home. I know that can be a big distraction. But at the same time, you're still to be at your A game at home.
Right.
And he got exposed a little bit. And he struggled with Molina.
Yeah. While we're talking about the heavyweights, let's talk about Klitschko and your boy Tyson Fury. Talk to me about that, too. Oh, you want to go to the champ? Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Has anybody ever seen Tyson Fury fight?
I haven't.
Guys, what's his record? 24-0, 18 knockouts. And I looked at his record, and the biggest win he had was against...
They love him in the UK.
Yeah. Well, his biggest win was against a cruiserweight, Steve Cunningham, who was a cruiserweight. Now, Tyson Fury is 6'7", 260 pounds. And his biggest win came against a cruiserweight. That he did knock out in the 7th round. I am not impressed with Tyson Fury at all. I think it'll be an easy fight for Klitschko. He is talking, now Tyson Fury is talking the fight up. He's kind of doing one of those David Hayden numbers where he's talking a whole bunch of trash. And I think the same thing that happened with Hay is going to happen with Fury. When the bell sounds, the whole game's going to change. Klitschko's a big guy. Tyson Fury's a big guy. Fury's a little bit better, agile boxer style, but he doesn't have a real big punching power. So Klitschko probably will walk through him, let him hang around 4 or 5 rounds, and then probably finish him 8th, 9th round. You know, but I'm not impressed with the fight. I think it's just another way of Klitschko staying as the champion, playing it safe, you know, and keeping his record clean, and have another title defense where he make $8-10 million and walk away without a scratch. You know, I would like to see Klitschko fight
Wilder.
a Wilder.
That's the one I
Now,
want to see.
I don't think Wilder's ready for that fight right now because of his last fight. I don't think that was a good,
Showing.
parlaying into a Klitschko kind of fight. You know, now if Wilder does have another fight with Areola, I think that fight will get him ready for a Klitschko kind of fight. That's what I'm thinking. So, but heavyweight division still sleep.
Big time.
Ain't nothing exciting or attracting about it. And the best thing we got is the Klitschko Fury fight. That makes the game scary. That is a terrible fight, to be honest with you.
Right.
You know?
And you know, hey, maybe the funny thing is, no matter when Wilder fights Klitschko, it almost seemingly is going to be, you know, when Wilder's still on his upside. I don't think we're going to get that because by the time I think Wilder, you know, kind of gets in his prime and he's fully loaded, you know, Klitschko's going to be out of the game. So that is going to be tough for Wilder, but it's going to be interesting to see if that pans out and if that plays out. But yeah, this is going to be another par for the course. Friday the 13th, part 20 type of fight for Klitschko. You know, only a matter of time before he lands that hammer right hand, and this thing should be over. But we're all looking. You know, heavyweight division is all about how's Wilder going to develop and what's Klitschko going to do next at this point. So.
Right.
Well, I think we've had enough to cut you off. I think we've already had enough of Klitschko and stand out of the game and stand away from the general, the American public. You know, so I think that's a turnoff about him.
Right.
Yeah. Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention our guy, Mr. Rock Blackwell, who's a huge BTP Sports fan, supporter. He's in action tonight. So, Rock, do what you do, baby. Baltimore's finest. Ain't that right, Smitty? That's Baltimore Baltimore in the house. So
he's fighting tonight?
He's fighting tonight.
Okay.
Finally got that fight off.
Okay.
So the first time they supposed to fight, the guy didn't make weight.
Okay.
And then Rock's mother had some issues, and now they're ready to roll. So Rock, do what you do.